are finally here. It honestly just makes me so excited that the day has finally come that we can talk about this. Like, there is a new Star Wars movie to talk about. What a great time to be a nerd. Okay, so first up, let's talk some business. This video is obviously going to be a review and my thoughts on Star Wars The Force Awakens. So the first part of this video is going to be totally spoiler-free, just my general thoughts on the movie and some things that I think that they did really well. And then once we're done with that, I will make it very clear that you should stop watching the video if you haven't seen the movie yet, and I will go into the spoiler zone. But I do recommend that if you haven't seen the movie, I wouldn't look in the comment section of this video or really any Star Wars video until you've seen the movie, because one, we all know that there are trolls out there trying to ruin it for people, and two, if people are commenting on the things that I'm saying that are spoilery here, it's probably just not a good idea. You've been warned. So first up, let's talk spoiler-free. Guys, it was just phenomenal. It was honestly like a very emotional experience. It was incredible and it exceeded every expectation that I had. And anybody that follows me on social media will know that I was very pumped for this movie and the bar was high. What was great is this is one of those movies where within the first 2 minutes of the film, I knew it was gonna be incredible. My biggest concern going into this movie, and what I think honestly was gonna be their hardest job, was bridging the old nostalgic elements of Star Wars that people want to see and also don't want to be changed with the new elements like new shot styles and new special effects. And this was something that they were obviously going to have to tackle because they had to cater to the generations of people that have loved Star Wars and have grown up that way, and they obviously want to reel in new people and introduce new people into the story. And I think why in the first 2 minutes of the film I knew I was gonna love it was because they instantly did that. I felt like I was watching a Star Wars movie, except I felt like it was even cooler. And this was also a valid concern for the characters of Star Wars. While I have so much respect and love for like actors like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, I was legitimately concerned that when they brought them back into the franchise that they just wouldn't make sense in the new story and that it might, dare I say, feel forced. But alas and alack, they managed to bridge the old characters with the new characters almost seamlessly. And speaking of the new characters, they were the bomb. The writing overall for the characters, for the storyline, was just so strong, and that's what was gonna make or break this film. Not hating on fanfic, but I didn't want this movie to feel like just a fan movie of Star Wars. I wanted to feel like Star Wars. And speaking of good writing, never before have I been afraid of stormtroopers, and in this movie, I was terrified of stormtroopers. They were not messing around. And this goes as well for our main baddie, which is Kylo Ren. How could they possibly make a character that would top Darth Vader or would really even get close to the level of Darth? I don't know exactly how they did it, but let me tell you, they did it. This movie definitely got a lot of villain points in my book. And hopping right from villains to droids, guys, BB-8 was everything. I love my BB now more than I have ever loved it before. I was really interested to see how they were gonna make BB-8 a different character than R2-D2 and make them totally separate personalities, and they totally did, and BB-8 was just the most adorable droid in all of the galaxy. I will conclude my spoiler-free section with this. It had every element that makes a Star Wars movie a Star Wars movie. Plot twists, major sci-fi elements, fantastical creatures, heartbreak, drama, strong characters, and just a storyline that makes you count down every second until you get to hear the next part. Also, crazy battle scenes and so much comedy. This movie was so funny. So whether you are a die-hard Star Wars fan like I am, or you're entirely new to the franchise, I recommend you go and see it. I think you will really, really enjoy it. So now, we are going to get into the treacherous territory of Spoilerland. These are not the spoilers you're looking for. You will turn off this video if you don't want to see spoilers. This is your last chance. Go away. Let's talk spoilers! The first thing that we obviously have to talk about is the farewell to Han Solo. First off, he was in it way more than I was anticipating. Like, he was like a main main component of the movie. And that was really exciting, and I think it's why I'm okay. I mean, like, not okay, but I think it was what made his death alright, because I felt like he got a proper send-off. And truthfully, I don't know that Harrison Ford would have signed on for all 3 movies, and I would prefer to see him more in one movie than just like for a second in 3 movies, you know? You shot first, Hans. You shot first. And segueing from like Han Solo's role in this movie, obviously now, let's talk about Kylo Ren. I think some people are gonna find the fact that Kylo Ren was Han Solo's son is like a little hokey, but personally, I think it worked really, really well. And to talk more now about why I think Kylo Ren was so scary is because they immediately established him as this very erratic, rage-filled villain. And inherently, characters that switch from being calm to rage-filled in a moment are way scarier than just level-headed characters. And also, you instantly, like, sort of felt for the guy. And that's obviously the key to any villain, is that you want them to be dynamic and to have more than just one, like, evil exterior. And his whole internal struggle of, you know, like, wanting to be on the dark side and live in his grandfather's shadow versus, you know, the light side thing was such a good parallel to Finn's story. You see Finn, who was born and raised in the First Order, has really no excuse or reason to be good, but finds the light side, while you have Ben, also gotta love the name reference, you have Ben, aka Kylo Ren, who was born under all of the right circumstances, trained by, like, the defender of the light side, and ends up on the dark side. It just plays into that theme that situationally it doesn't matter how you were raised or where you were, but that you can choose the light side over the dark. And that's a really amazing theme and like actually real world relevant. I know we mock Star Wars a lot, and I think we mark the like light side, dark side thing, but it is a very like interesting theme and an actual thing that we should think about. Since we've started to talk about Finn, let's talk about the Finn and Rey dynamic. First off, instantly they were amazing characters. And the on-screen chemistry between these 2 actors was just great. Their story and relationship had the perfect amount of like subtle romance and flirtation and camaraderie and friendship. It just had the perfect balance of all of those things that make a great dynamic duo. And it was so nice to see these 2 new characters be totally capable of carrying the movie. Like, I was so intrigued by them. I was almost more excited to see them on screen than the major people like Harrison Ford. I'm so glad they did this like strong female lead character right. Like, she wasn't super feminine or effeminate. She was a scavenger and she was very independent and go get it, and she had like these goals and morals and all of these great things going on. Like, she was a real person. Hey, we exist. And then Finn, again, this whole idea, first off, that made the First Order also so much scarier, that they have a battalion of people that are born and raised to the dark side to be stormtroopers. And to have Finn, who instantly wants to get away and has such an amazing like comedic personality and is just so instantaneously lovable. I honestly cannot wait to see more of them in the next 2 movies. Also, let's talk about the Millennium Falcon. The Millennium Falcon really is its own character, and I will say that they totally took me by surprise in the way that it entered the movie. I thought it was great. And as it being its own character, I can't believe how big of a role that it played in this movie and how big of a role it's gonna play in the movies to come, with the whole idea that Rey is now going to be the pilot with Chewie by her side, and it was just great. And obviously the moment of seeing Han Solo in the front of the Millennium Falcon like looking around and everything was just so emotional. Talking more about relationshipy stuff, the relationship between Poe and Finn, I can't imagine how many of you people are writing fanfic about the 2 of them right now. Poe overall, also, I really didn't expect him to be alive, and I was really excited when he was alive. What a great like character. And then also the Poe and BB-8 relationship. It was really, really cute to see that. Also, Lupita Nyong'o's character, who I can't remember if it was pronounced Maz or Maze, but her character, who was basically a more like relatable, less choppy speaking Yoda. I was thinking thinking about this when I was writing this down for this video, but I don't know how believable a new Yoda that speaks the way that Yoda does would be in this day and age in these movies. Like, I don't know if people would still believe that character. I want to say that I hope people would, but I don't know that they would, and so I think making this character very similar, again, at least for me, to Yoda, was very good. It was a really good choice and was a very good performance. Overall, I loved how many parallels that this movie had to episode 4. Like, I rewatched episode 4 the night before I went to go and see Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and I'm so glad that I did because there were so many parallels, but at the same time, again, they did such a great job balancing the parallels, but me still not knowing where it was gonna go. Like, it wasn't predictable, it just felt familiar, like it had that great little warm fuzzy feeling to it. Hilariously, the person that I was least excited, not least excited, but like I was not as pumped to see Luke Skywalker as I was Han Solo and Leia, and yet the last scene of the movie to me was so powerful and was the only time in the movie besides the beginning of the movie when I got teary-eyed. Just the shot of Rey holding out Luke's lightsaber, which she clearly has some sort of place in this bigger picture that we don't know about yet, and the revealing moment of like Luke after all of these years, it really was very touching. It was an epic moment, and that's what I would describe this movie as. It was epic. They didn't play it up too hard. I was a little worried that they would because, you know, trailers and whatnot make it seem like this huge movie event, and it was a huge movie event. It was epic, and it completely met all of those standards. And so that is what I thought of The Force Awakens. For those of you who have seen the movie, what did you think? Leave it in the comment section below. Try not to be too in your face about the spoiler situation. There's a line, but I'm just so excited to talk about it. This is so cool. If you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more shenanigans like this. I love you biddies, and I will see you in my video tomorrow. Bye! May the Force be with you.